In this video, we're going to be covering over the information on pages Word 60 and 61, which is working with indents. When you indent a paragraph, you move its edge in from the left or right margin. You can indent the entire left or right edge of a paragraph, just the first line, or all lines except for the first line. The indent markers on the horizontal ruler indicate the indent setting for the paragraph in which the insertion point is located. Dragging an indent marker to a new location on the ruler is one way to change the indentation of a paragraph. Changing the indent settings in the paragraph group on the Page Layout tab is another way of doing that. And using the indent buttons in the paragraph group on the Home tab is a third way that you can change the indentions of a paragraph. In step 1 on page Word 60, we're going to press our Control Home key to get up to the very top of the document. And then next, we're going to place the insertion point in the italicized paragraph. Next, we're going to click on the Increase Indent button in the paragraph group on the Home tab. So here we have our paragraph group, and notice that we have these two buttons right up here. This one is the Increase Indent, and there's our Decrease Indent. But it tells us we want to click on the Increase Indent. Now notice what happens to our text. It moves over ½ an inch. And that's what happens when we click on the Increase Indent button. And notice it moved it for all the lines of that text. But notice how it didn't move anything else on there as well. And step 2 tells us we're going to click the Decrease Indent button in the paragraph group, because this looks a little bit crowded and everything, and that's a way that you can undo that. Of course, you can also press the tab at the beginning of a paragraph to indent the first line ½ an inch as well. On step 3, it tells us that we want to drag the first line indent marker to the 3/4 inch mark on the horizontal ruler. And of course we have our different markers right here, and for the first line on there, first line indent markers, the very top one pointing downwards. If I click on this and drag it to the 3/4 inch mark, notice how the first line moves over to the 3/4 inches right there, but the rest of it remains left aligned. Of course, take care while you're dragging only the first line indent marker. If you make a mistake, you can always click on the undo button to try again. On step 4, it tells us that we're going to scroll to the bottom of page 1. So we're going down here to the bottom of this page 1, and it tells us to place the insertion point in the quotation that's on there. And that's where we see this little quotation right through this area here. So when we place our insertion point there, we're going to click on the Page Layout tab this time. So we're going to see a different way of changing the indentions on here. And then it tells us that we're going to indent. We're going to click the Indent Left text box in the paragraph group until we're going to type in 0.5. So here's the indentation here, and here's the paragraph group. And on the left, we're going to type in 0.5 here. So we're saying we want to move this over ½ an inch. When we do that, we type in our 0.5, we can hit our Enter key, and notice it moves it over 0.5 this way. Of course, we can also indent it from the right as well. If I type in 0.5 here, which is the next part in there, and then press Enter, notice that the text now has been moved over to the right 0.5. In step 5, it tells us that we want to press our Control Home key to go back up to the top. And then we're going to place our insertion point in the italicized paragraph. So we're going back to our italicized paragraph here, placing our insertion point here. And then we're going to click on the launcher in the paragraph group. And in this case, we're going to click on the special, and this is step 6, tells us to click the special list arrow on there. So notice where it says special first line by 0.75, and we have told it to do that earlier when we drug our first line indent over this way. And on this case, we're going to click on that where it says first line, and we're going to click on none. Once we have that, we're just going to go ahead and click on OK, and then now you can save your changes. Now if you take a look on the bottom of page Word 60, it talks about the different types of indents, where there's a left indent, a right indent, first line indent, a hanging indent, and a negative indent, or what they call an outdent on there. Make sure you read through that table C2 and talks about how to create those on there as well. Of course, always remember, if you're unhappy with the way that the text is formatted, you can use the clear formatting command to return the text to the default format settings on there as well. And that information you can read about on page Word 61. And that concludes this information that's on page Word 1661, which is working with indents. So you now may move on to the next video.